Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I am your host, Jason Osbor, and on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned and share them with us. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, try to message me on LinkedIn and have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborne, and the link of that will be in the show notes below. On today's podcast, our guest is Nigel Hughes. He's the owner of Outstanding Global, where he provides leadership with purpose, making an impact by doing the impossible. So, Nigel, it's great to have you on the show today. And the first question that I will ask you, that I always love asking, is this: if you had a time machine and you were able to go back to when you started your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Oh, aim high, jump with agility, and keep your passion clean.
Okay, keep your passion clean. Explain that. What do you mean by that?
I'm not sure. Just made it up. Well, but it's like often people use passion as something that as a way to motivate people, and of course, passion has lots of connotations. And for me, keep your passion clean. I'm just now thinking what I said. It's about being ethical. And for me, it's like, if we can tell the truth, we'll have nothing to remember. And it's a phrase that my mum told me, right from the get-go. Tell the truth, you'll have nothing to remember. So that's what I mean by keeping your passion clean. Stay focused, stay alert, make sure you weigh up all the incredible difficulties, challenges, but keep to your north, your pole star.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Because life is difficult, and there was a wonderful book called The Road Less Traveled, and he starts the book with the first sentence: "Life is difficult." Second sentence is, "Life is difficult." Third sentence is, "Life will always be difficult until you accept that life is difficult." Because we have these obstacles to overcome, and I guess what we have to do is we just have to dip in and use everything that we can do to overcome the obstacles.
Yeah, very powerful. Is there, speaking of obstacles and challenges, is there a particular challenge or obstacle that you have faced in your business that stands out more than the others, but looking back at it was one of the biggest teachers or lesson learners that you've had in that? And so the question is this: what is that obstacle, and what was the lesson that you learned from it?
Great. Really good question. I like that one. Okay. When I was running an environmental education organization called Greenlight Trust, we had been going on a very successful trajectory for about 10 years. And we just built a new building. We'd won an award for it. And suddenly we lost 85% of our funding overnight because of the financial crisis. This was around 2008-9, yeah? So I had to pull the team together and say, I'm terribly sorry, everybody, but we've lost our funding. It happened to be 3 weeks before Christmas. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to take any pay, and we're going to close the office for 3 weeks until we can kind of settle and regroup in the new year. I'm going to give you all an hour to go away and think about it and tell me what you'd like to do. So an hour later, they came back and they said, well, Nigel, we love this business. We love what we do. We know somewhere over the rainbow, there'll be the pot of gold. We're going to stick behind you. We'll also have 3 weeks off with no pay, and we'll regroup. That was on the Friday. On the Monday, we suddenly had a huge grant that had been pending for a while be successful.
Mm.
So I called the office people back in again. I called the whole team back in and I said, oh, guess what? That big grant came through and we can carry on working. Have a little moment to think about it. And they all, as one voice, said, well, do you know what? We now have got used to the idea of having 3 weeks off. So let's have 3 weeks off. Let's regroup. We know the money's there. And let's all start again in the new year. So the lesson is always this thing, trust that if you're doing the right thing, the great provider, whoever she is, will provide. But most importantly, trust that if you've got a good team behind you and you involve them in the challenges and difficulties, then it creates wonderful loyalty. It creates a fantastic sense of unity, teamwork, all that kind of stuff. So that was the biggest lesson. Trust in the universe, but most importantly, trust in your people because we're working together for the same aim.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So what you're saying is, just kind of paraphrase what you've said. Number one, trust the people around you, assuming you've got good people around you, and then trust as well in the process that there it may seem like there's insurmountable challenges, but in some ways you're saying things do work out in the end. You just have to keep moving forward. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah. And for me, it's about, if you're doing the right thing, then the right thing will do the right thing for you. But of course, it's always about making sure that you're doing the right thing. And we were all convinced that we were doing the right thing. And we were proven that actually we were. So, we needed to have confidence that we were. And of course, from that moment on, that particular business, even though I left in 2012, is now accelerated to a phenomenal degree. And the best thing is, I'm not involved. So
Yeah.
again, it's about inspiring, engaging, empowering others, and stepping back.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about that for a second. Empowering others and then the ability to step back. What were some of the learnings that you had along the way to empower others to be able to do things that you may have not done certain things the way you would have done them, right? Or you did, or let me ask the question a different way. You would have done them a different way or had done them a different way. You empowered someone else. They may have done them a little bit different. Like, well, that's not the way I would have done it. But being able to also step away from that to allow you to give you that freedom in your business. What are some key points that you learned along the way with that?
Yeah. Again, it's about trust, but it's about vision. It's about making sure that people understand what the vision is, not just the outcome, but how do we realize our dreams? How do we make sure that we're on target, we're on purpose? That's why I talk about myself being a purposeful leadership consultant, because for me, it's all about purpose. If you're really on purpose and you know that your purpose is ethical and inspiring, then you will find a way. And again, just going back to that particular organization, Greenlight Trust, which is doing phenomenally well. 6 months after I relinquished my post and handed it over, I had a call from one of the trustees, and they said, "Oh, we're terribly sorry, but the newly appointed CEO has got very ill and can no longer work." And I said, "Stop there, because I know what you're about to ask me. And if you ask me this question, I'm going to have to give you an answer. But please don't ask the question because you will be disappointed." So again, it's that thing about once you've said no and once you've relinquished and handed something over, trust it will manifest, whether it's the way that you wanted it to manifest, to your point, or not. And then of course seeing the way organizations grow when you've left them behind is phenomenal.
Hmm.
As
Yeah,
long as
that's
as long as the values and the principles and everything are all there, then the values, the principles, the vision, the behaviors are all kind of in place. But the vision is the thing to keep hold of. Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's extremely powerful the way you're describing that. Is there in terms of what you're doing now and what you're wanting to do as you're moving forward, are there some exciting challenges ahead that you are dealing with right now? And if so, what are those?
Yeah. Of course, the biggest challenge that we're all faced with is this whole complete chaos that's going on in the business world and in the geopolitical world. So therefore, the economy is unstable, the global economy is unstable, uh, geopolitics is absolutely unprecedented. So we no longer can actually say, oh, this is the plan and these are the steps. We have to be very present. We have to be incredibly agile. So for me, it's about accept, adapt, discover. So we have to accept whatever the current reality is. Then we have to adapt to that current reality. Then, of course, when we're into that whole unknown, then we discover all sorts of things. We discover skills within ourselves. We discover the attitudes of other people. We discover, what might work, what could work. So entertaining all the possibilities. So suddenly
Hmm.
it becomes a very interesting, challenging, thriving environment to operate in. But of course, deeply worrying. The number of
Yeah.
the number of businesses that I'm working with now who are all, having to manage the chaos and most importantly, having to manage the team's expectations and, as well as keeping the economic ship afloat.
Hmm.
So it's an incredibly challenging time. So therefore,
Hmm.
we need to be resilient, that good old word, but actually we need to be creative, inventive, adaptable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with those challenges, obviously you've got a vision for where you want to go and where you want the business to go. What are your goals over the next, let's say, 1 to 2 years?
Oh, um, to keep working with the most exciting people, because I've worked with some very extraordinary people, and whenever I go into a new business, there's always somebody who kind of surprises you. Um, so, for instance, just over the last 2 years, I've been working in the pharmaceutical area with a um, very brilliant set of scientists,
Hmm.
and kind of the mission was, how can we help these scientists be human scientists? That's
Yeah.
not to denigrate what scientists are, but how can we get that balance? So therefore, by asking them to create a choir to sing a song together, climb every mountain, and then actually find the mountain to climb, and then do the t-shirt, do the video, all that kind of stuff, was really inspiring, because what it did was it helped people really dig into themselves, look at things very, very differently, come together as a very complementary team, and guess what, the business has been phenomenally successful. So for me, it's about finding those remarkable people who are willing to go into the unknown, to be vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, because for me, vulnerability is a real sense of power.
Hmm.
And, the open-heartedness, one of the labels I kind of use is open-hearted leadership. So to open your hearts, to open your minds, to really work together as a team. And it's like, what are the success factors that need to be there? And of course, it's the human success factors that actually make the business successful.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. That's absolutely amazing, Nigel. Well, if people want to learn more about you or just find where you are, what's the best way for them to be able to do that?
Call me 07711546131.
Very good, very simple and straightforward. That's amazing. Well, Nigel, thank you so much for being on the show and just sharing some great wisdom there. As a reminder, everyone, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborne, and that will be in the show notes below as well.